Emma Wilson was 26 years old and living in New York City. From the outside, her life looked perfect. She had a good job, a nice apartment, and a following online that suggested she was never alone. But behind the screen, she had slowly lost touch with the people who actually knew her. Most of her evenings were spent eating alone and scrolling through a phone to fill the silence. On a rainy Friday, that silence became absolute. Her manager called her into the office to explain the company was downsizing. 30 minutes later, she walked out with everything she owned in a single cardboard box. For Emma, losing her job meant more than losing a paycheck. In a city where she was already isolated, it removed the last physical connection she had to the world around her. She sat on a bench at the subway station, waiting for the last train home. As the rain poured outside, she sat with her box and finally let the tears fall. An elderly man sat down beside her. He didn't look away or pretend not to notice. He just asked, "Bad day?" Emma laughed a little, wiped her eyes, and told him he could say that. The man waited a moment before speaking. He told her that the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who simply make sure they get up one more time than they're knocked down. When you're in the middle of a crisis, it's hard to see anything beyond the immediate pain. Sometimes it takes a complete stranger to break that cycle and offer a different perspective. The train pulled into the station, and Emma was surprised to see the man board. They sat together, the rhythmic hum of the train creating a space where she felt safe. The man's name was Arthur. He was 72 years old. As Emma shared her story, he decided to show why he wasn't worried about her future. Arthur lost his job at 30, his business at 45, and his wife at 60. Each spike stopped his world. Yet, he learned every ended chapter made room for a better one. Loss wasn't a dead end, but a prerequisite for what happened next. Resilience isn't about avoiding these low points. It's about looking at a devastating ending and understanding it as the foundation for a new start. When the train reached Emma's stop, Arthur handed her a folded piece of paper. He told her to read it when she got home. Then he stepped off and disappeared into the late-night crowd. Inside her apartment, Emma opened the note. It read, "5 years from now, this painful day may become the reason your life changed for the better. Don't quit before the miracle happens." Emma took the words to heart. Over the next months, she spent days learning new skills, and her nights sending out applications. The paralysis she felt on that subway platform was gone. It wasn't easy. She had to sit through dozens of rejections and quiet weeks where it felt like nothing was moving. But the effort eventually compounded. She received an offer from a growing technology company, a role that paid more than her old job and gave her a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. A stranger's words can provide the spark, but actual change only happens through the unglamorous work of showing up after everyone else says no. A year passed. Emma's life was different now, not just because of her new job, but because she had stopped measuring her worth by her social media feed. She was walking through the same subway station when she saw a familiar face. It was Arthur, standing where they had first met. She ran toward him and told him he was right. Everything had changed for the better, exactly as he said it would. Arthur smiled. He told her he was certain of it, because the days that feel like they might destroy us are the ones that actually build the strength we need to move forward. Emma realized that Arthur's life hadn't been easier than hers. It had been harder. And that was exactly why he was able to help her see past her own bad day. Emma boarded her train and looked back one last time. Arthur smiled and waved as the door slid shut. Their interaction had lasted only a few minutes, but the impact would stay with her for years. It's a strange reality that the people who change us the most aren't always our lifelong friends. Sometimes it's a stranger who provides the brief moment of friction needed to push us in a better direction. The most important thing Emma learned was the difference between a bad day and a bad life. She saw that her lowest point wasn't a dead end. It was simply the point where her old path ended and a better one finally had the room to begin.